of this picture. We were not sleeping at night because we're like, oh, God, what are we going to do with this? Move. Kevin's good.
Right back there, all right.
Different levels in this film, and I was just experiencing the script as being delivered and wondering how did this come together in the script. I didn't even see this taken from a novel. It is an original script?
Yes.
Brian, I'm Ari's mom, very impressed. Tell me how.
I'm very impressed, Brian.
Who's mom? Who's mom?
Ari Kay.
Oh, hey! Allison, how are you? This script came out of a Lee and I were working on something else, and we were stuck on the 10 in some LA traffic, and we were talking about these stories about writers, in particular a story about Hemingway who lost some work, and we started discussing it, and we realized it was like a Pandora's box. We just kept asking more and more questions, and
yeah, it was in 1999. We were stuck in traffic, and yeah, we started talking about how Hemingway lost a book of stories, and we started asking questions like, well, what if you lost your opus? Would you be able to go on? And then what if you found it? And that sort of opened up all these questions about ambition and choices, and we actually, that night, we went home, and we ended up writing 35 pages that night, which
was a bench scene,
yeah.
And all the Jeremy Irons and Bradley stuff, we wrote that real quick, and then the rest of it was impossible. But the first, the embryo of this story was very effortless and never really changed in all these years.
I think the important thing to say for people who don't write is that it is not often that you get a chance to write 35 pages just cold like that in a couple hours. When you're young, you think that's going to happen all the time, and then you keep going, you realize it never happens. So it was really amazing.
So was there an old man? Or was that just like a creation that you came up with?
I mean, that's kind of like at the core of the ending of the film is for you to take the choice of whether there's an old man. Whether this is, I mean, he says maybe it's just a story he made up, and maybe it is. Maybe Clay is this great writer who's found this metaphor to talk about some questions that a lot of us have, and we've been asked that question a lot of times, and I feel like we've been pretty reluctant to necessarily. I'm curious, Coop, what do you think?
Well, I think the secret's in the fact that his title is The Old Man. I think he's fictionalized. Well, that's because he's fictional.
I think
Yeah, Dicker.
I think in the end we're more. I think in the end, to answer your question, we're more interested in what you think than what we could tell you.
I would like all our friends and family to go to every screening that we do. So much nicer. I like to know everybody in the audience.
Home field advantage.
They're like they're rooting for you, as opposed to wanting to tear you apart. It's a nice switch.
How many endings did you come up with before the final one?
Repeat the question.
Okay, we can repeat the questions for you. Sorry. He wanted to know how many endings we came up with before we came up with this ending, and starting the writing process.
I think you alone had about 30.
Yeah. And
It's really just variations on the same ending. It's not like it ended completely differently. It's just sort of...
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to preserve the ambiguity always. What is interesting, I will say, is that we switched, about halfway through editing, we switched the first and second act. Which was, we said to our editor, has anyone ever done this before? Like taking the whole middle of the movie and started it off. We had it out sequence originally. It was kind of written where you didn't know this old man came out.
Paris first.
Yeah, we went to Paris in the 40s, and we wound up switching it.
I'll ask you, since it's about publishing, what do you all read? What do you like to read, each of you?
I mean, it all depends. Everything. I mean, fiction.
Mad Libs.
Mad Libs. Maxim.
What are you reading now?
Maxim. That's what I was reading on the plane.
Maxim on the plane, okay. What are you thinking about?
I already said it.
What? Mad Libs? Yeah, me too, Mad Libs. No, I'm reading, right now, for the first time, I'm reading Lonesome Dove, which is, I'm about 300 pages in. I've been reading it for about a year and a half. Oh, Chet Pizza?
Oh! Yeah, it was like back in '93. I heard this play for Belfry, and it was like exactly the same.
To repeat the question, it was said with a thick Philadelphia accent that he wrote a similar play back when we were in high school, because we went to high school together. Exactly the same. He wanted to know if he found it.
Wait, we changed the ending. How can it be exactly?
Yeah, we changed the ending. Sorry.
Hi, Pepper Pizzino, nice to see you guys.
Oh, hey, Pepper.
How you guys doing?
Good, how you doing, man?
Good, thank you. Listen, I found that a really particularly powerful movie. I just really enjoyed it, and I was wondering if you guys have any plans in collaborating in the future.
Oh, hell yeah. I feel like we collaborate all the time. I mean, even though this is the first time we've actually done something like this.
Formal.
Anything that I've ever been involved with, Brian's been a huge part of. Just as my friend and, sharing, and he's, I showed him cuts of stuff early on.
And Lee and I, we've been writing together now for about 12 years, and hopefully we'll make some more movies together. And we send every script to this guy. And yeah, we always, I would love to work with both of them again as much as possible. Bebo.
I just wanted to tell you guys how cool the movie was and how proud I am of you guys, and it was just great.
Thanks.
Bebo.
If you notice in the movie, when we're going to Enter the Literary Agency, we have a shot and it says the Jason R. Reaver Literary Agency. That's Jason R. Reaver. That's yes. You? Okay.
When we're writing, it's different depending on what we're working on. It's sort of like by any means necessary. We go back and forth with each other.
I think after all this time, we've really tried out just about every format, where Lee's typing, I'm typing, he takes it home, I take it home. And as far as directing, we kind of just split that up. And one of the great things about working with Bradley is he is truly a director. He's got he's been on more sets than any of us, and he has so many ideas, and through the editing process, him weighing in on things, and one of the nice things about, I think, all of our relationships is we're brutally, painfully honest with each other about this stuff, and it can be really frustrating, but at the same time, everyone kind of has been able to weigh in on all steps of this process.
Yeah, we're going to have I think we're going to do the same thing that you're in now right now for the lighting cycle. And we're actually going to, I'm really proud of that movie, and it's very Philadelphia-centric. The character I play wears Deshaun Jackson's jersey for 3/4 of the movie. And we're going to be back here in Philly in the spring shooting another movie with David O. Russell. So we'll be back here again. Yep.
Do you envision the actors you want for the parts while you're writing, or how does that process work?
We play around with it. We'll do a Christopher Walken voice, or Brian will do one occasionally, a lot. But for this particular script, no. Not this one. It was written so long ago, and it was just something that came about because...
But we wrote it so long ago, we wrote the part of the young man for Charlton Heston.
Yeah.
But I did go, I was in Los Angeles in 1999 or 2000 when Jack Klugman read The Old Man, which was incredible. It's great uncle.
Anyone in the back that we can't see?
We got one over here in front.
Glenn Valerio. I just wanted to tell you that I love the movie. I love that it wasn't predictable and that there's so many stories in it. And I'm not physically embarrassed in part, but I tell you how Charlie and the two of them out there on middle school. Back to my
Thank you so much.
My middle school teacher's not here.